What really happened behind Bang Si-hyuk's sudden decision that left Taehyung and Jungkook speechless? Why are two of BTS's brightest members being penalized for something that was never made public? Is this a form of punishment? Or is there a truth that HYB has buried so tightly? Bang Si-hyuk's shocking decision. Taehyung and Jungkook can only be silent? The dark truth about the silent sanctions that changed everything. Why is it that when all the spotlight is on BTS's success, ARMY's two most beloved figures, Taehyung and Jungkook, look so empty? Why don't they show up at big events for no apparent reason? Why does the cheerful face that we are used to seeing suddenly turn cold, burdened, as if it is hiding something much heavier than just fatigue? Have you noticed anything unusual in the last few months? It's not just about their absence at some major international event, which is usually Taehyung and Jungkook's stage to shine, but also about how HYB seems to bury this matter so deeply, without clarification, without explanation, until finally, a shocking decision from Bang Si-hyuk came to the surface. A decision that was not even announced through a press release or official social media. Decisions submitted behind closed doors, directly to the internal, and Taehyung and Jungkook just stare at each other.
No crying, no protest.
Only heartrending silence. What the hell happened? Is it true that they were punished by the man they used to consider a second father in the course of their careers? What exactly have Taehyung and Jungkook done that they have to be eliminated from the list of appearances at some global events? And why is Bang Si-hyuk so harsh, only to them? That said, it all started with one conversation that was overheard by a staff member. A secret conversation in the studio room between Taehyung and Jungkook, who talk about their doubts towards the creative direction imposed by the management. Are we still artists, or are we just puppets? That sentence, uttered by Taehyung in a hoarse voice full of emotion, became the starting point of a silent storm that ultimately devastated their relationship with the agency. Jungkook, who has been known to be very obedient and rarely questions agency decisions, apparently harbors similar insecurities. He is no longer able to hide the boredom of the pressure that continues to come without stopping. But who would have thought that private conversation leaked and was overheard by the wrong person? A few days later, their schedule to perform at two prestigious events was suddenly canceled. No reason, without clarification. Just a sudden notice from their manager. You don't have to attend. Jungkook, who is not used to fighting, can only sit quietly staring at his phone. Taehyung, who usually has words, was silent for a long time, as if realizing, this is not just an ordinary cancellation. It's a sanction. But why? Is it because they're starting to question the system? Does Bang Si-hyuk feel betrayed? Or is it all part of a larger power play that has been invisible to the public eye? And the most painful part, it was when the ARMY asked, why don't V and JK exist? But no one answered. Not from the agency. Not from another member. Not even from their own. As if they were forbidden to speak. In one short interview, Jungkook once uttered a chilling phrase. Sometimes, you have to keep quiet even though you know you're right. Have you ever felt that the phrase is not just a philosophy, but a cry of the heart that he is not able to convey directly? Taehyung also seems to be avoiding questions about individual projects more and more. He just smiled and said, I'll do what I have to do. For the rest, I can't say much. This sentence, for those who are sensitive, is not just a formal answer, but it signals that something is not right. Even more surprising, Bang Si-hyuk himself reportedly said in a closed-door meeting that he was disappointed with some artists who too often act out of line. And that as a coach, he must teach an important lesson about loyalty. That code? Or a warning. To be sure, Taehyung and Jungkook never talked about this incident in public. But the look in their eyes said something else. There is sadness. There is suppressed anger. There's a betrayal they can't fight. The question now is, how much power does Bang Si-hyuk have to make the two brightest stars of BTS submit without a fight? And what exactly is going on behind the walls of HYB so thick and impenetrable to the media? Is this the beginning of a rift that the agency has so far denied? Is this a sign that even BTS is no longer immune to internal conflicts? Are we all witnessing a slow process in which one member after another begins to doubt the system they once defended so desperately? And if it is true that they were once sentenced to silence, what made them survive?
For the army?
Or because they know fighting now will only make things collapse faster? There are invisible wounds. There are decisions that cannot be reversed. And what hurts the most? There is a silence that speaks louder than anything. Bang Si-hyuk, in one of his old statements, once said, "A great artist is not only one who can sing, but one who can accept difficult decisions with an open heart." Now we ask, does this difficult decision have to bring down two of the most sincere souls in the group? And to the soldiers, are you ready to accept the fact that in this light-filled, visible world, there is darkness creeping slowly? No one expected that the two most beloved members, who have been the global faces of BTS, were actually subjected to the most painful decision from the person they have always called Hyungnim. As one important performance after another was announced, fans began to question, why are only Jungkook and Taehyung absent? At the Golden Disc Awards, they were nowhere to be seen. In the international project of global collaboration, both suddenly unable. And the official answer from the agency is just a cold phrase, for personal reasons. But who really believes that personal reasons apply to only two people and not to the whole group? Doesn't the public deserve to know? Or is the truth too dark to tell? Some internal staff began voicing their unease in closed-door chats. Some leaked that Taehyung had come to the rehearsal room, just sitting in the corner for 2 hours without saying a word. He looked in the mirror, looking at himself, and go, while Jungkook reportedly refused to appear in one of the big brand photo shoots because not sure if he is still allowed. The words shocked the shooting staff. Jungkook, who has always been professional, suddenly doubts his own position. Am I still allowed to appear on camera? That was the phrase recorded from the cell phone of one of the stylists who happened to be playing a voice recording of the team's brief. That sentence shouldn't have come out of the mouth of a world superstar. The army, as they always did, began to investigate. And they found something unusual. Jungkook posted a short story on Instagram, a black and white picture of a broken piano. The caption was just 2 words, "Too late." A few minutes later, the upload was deleted. But the screenshots have already become widespread. Is this a signal? Is it a form of frustration? Or an apology for something he never got to clarify? Shortly after, Taehyung changed his profile picture on Weverse to an image of a dark sky with a small, barely visible crescent moon. The title of the file is Amjime, which in Korean means silence. Is it a symbol of coercion? Silence? Or a warning to all of us that he is being forced to keep quiet? When Jin returned from his military service, he seemed to behave a little differently. There was warmth as he greeted the other members, but his expression stiffened when he mentioned Taehyung and Jungkook's names. In one livestream moment, a fan asked, "Are JK and V okay?" Jin was silent for more than 20 seconds. He said, "They are very strong." The sentence seemed ordinary. The army knows. That's not a neutral answer. That's a subtle form of defense from a Hyung who knows what's going on, but can't convey it explicitly. Some unofficial sources reported that Jin had asked for personal time with Bang Si-hyuk before his new album project was approved. Reportedly, he wants to rediscuss the fate of other members who were excluded. But the request was rejected, and from then on, Jin seemed to avoid a media conference that included a direct statement from HYBE's CEO. He chose to perform solo, speak for himself. More than that, he refused to mention Bang Si-hyuk in his speech, a habit he used to always do. Sources mention that the main trigger is not a major violation, not a scandal, not a crime, but just a conversation. Disagreements about musical direction, about pressure to keep performing despite fatigue, about creative rights not being respected. Taehyung feels that he is losing his soul in the process. "I want to sing from the heart, not from a spreadsheet," she said in an informal discussion. Jungkook welcomed him. "Maybe we've gone too deep in the system." And the system does not like to be criticized. Bang Si-hyuk, who is known to be a perfectionist, supposedly heard the recording of the discussion through one of the devices in the studio that kept recording automatically. He felt betrayed. However, if a leader feels threatened just because the artist wants to be human, Then who is really wrong? When they are finally summoned to the headquarters, Taehyung and Jungkook are not accompanied by the manager. Just the two of them. And one figure standing behind the long glass table. Bang Si-hyuk, one of the sources said that Bang Si-hyuk's words at that time were very cold. If you want to be a real artist, this is not where you belong. But as long as you're here, you play by T. When the world's spotlight is no longer on them, Taehyung and Jungkook feel a deep emptiness. Those who once stood on the stage together, united in harmony and dreams, now have to bear a very heavy burden of silence. Taehyung, who has always been known for his cheerful and colorful persona, is now often seen pensive himself. "I miss the time when I could be free to sing without restrictions," she told her close friends in a closed-door meeting. But who knows? Those words almost never come out of his lips in front of the camera. Jungkook, on the other hand, often locks himself in the recording studio. He created new songs, but without the usual burning passion. A source said, "JK looks like he is struggling with himself, like there is an inner war that continues to eat away at his spirit." How could two young souls full of talent and energy be at a point like this? Will the sense of justice they long for ever come? Or is this just part of the sacrifice they have to accept for the sake of a big name? While fans and the public continue to demand clarification behind the scenes, tough decisions continue to be made. Bang Si-hyuk, the figure who has delivered BTS to the top of the world, is now at the center of a storm of controversy. Does he realize the hurt he has created? A rumor is blowing. There is a secret meeting between Bang Si-hyuk, Taehyung, and Jungkook that is planned to talk about their future. Is this a sign that the doors of dialogue will be opened? Or is it just a strategic move to calm the public storm? On the other hand, HYBE management began to prepare a new scenario. Will it be a surprise comeback? Or is it just a new chapter that separates Taehyung and Jungkook from BTS? One thing is for sure, this story is not over. And the world waits with bated breath, ready to welcome whatever comes next. Will their voices be heard? This story is not just about the decisions of an agency. This is a story about dreams, hopes, and pain of a man who cannot always be shown in the spotlight stage lights. When power meets talent, and when rules clash with freedom, then big questions arise. Will Taehyung and Jungkook rediscover their voices? Or will they be left alone to fend for themselves? The answer to this question will determine not only their fate, but also the future of BTS and the whole world that loves them. Bang Si-hyuk's decision isn't just about Taehyung and Jungkook. It reflects the complicated dynamics behind a K-pop industry that has always seemed glamorous from the outside. Behind the glitter of the stage and the glare of the cameras, there is an incredible pressure that is often invisible. The decision to silence the two main artists and isolate them from several major events raises a serious question. Are K-pop agencies too powerful? Do real artists have the space to express and defend their voices? This phenomenon also opens up an important discussion about how the role of leader in South Korea's entertainment world is carried out. Bang Si-hyuk is known as the hitman who made BTS reach the top, but is his method in keeping with today's age, which demands more than just productivity, but also mental well-being and creative freedom. It is undeniable. The world of K-pop is very hard. Hectic schedules, incalculable expectations, and almost inhuman standards of perfection make artists often get stuck in inner dilemmas. Taehyung and Jungkook are not only global icons, but also humans who need space to breathe. When agency decisions limit them, it's not just their careers that are affected, but also their mental health and personal identity. Some psychologists have said that social isolation and silencing can exacerbate stress and depression. And this is what both of them are likely feeling. Are we, as an audience, sensitive enough? Or are we too busy enjoying their work without caring what they sacrifice? ARMY, BTS's notoriously loyal and critical fandom, is not standing still. When they find out there is injustice against Taehyung and Jungkook, they immediately unite in various digital and offline actions, from the hashtag campaign to writing an open letter to HYBE. Fans demanded transparency and fair treatment. In fact, some of the ARMY staged a peaceful demonstration in front of HYBE's office to show that they would not stand by and watch their idol get hurt. The fans' response also opened a global discussion about the rights of artists and the proper treatment of agencies. How can we support beloved artists without letting them get stuck in a curbing system? From the hashtag campaign to writing an open letter to HYB, fans